up.
Shut up.
The rest of my squad were there, like Jerd wasn't there, but Shane, everybody was there. Shane, Zanity, and Madcap. Rambo's not one.
Alright, Scruff, shut up. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Gfinity Day 1 recap show. Now, if you guys follow me on Twitter, which I hope most of you do in here, I tweeted out last night before this all started, I created spreadsheets. Spreadsheets with headers and everything. You see all this writing I did? Look at all this. Every freaking match. Scores, everything. I got little notes down here. I got notes underneath the scores. Like, I went off. So, I just know everything I want to talk about. Oh man. Okay, where do I want to start? I want to start with the whole setup stream thing they had going on. So all the build up to Gfinity, I love the guys at Gfinity, don't get me wrong. I like them, I met him in Anaheim, they're all great. I love Warren, he's a good guy. But the way they built this up, it was gonna be better than anything that we've ever seen from MLG, and they were trying to even rival or even trump COD Champs. Now when they were saying that venue-wise, I was thinking something just freaking ridiculous, like venue-wise, like just the sheer size of it and the whole setup of it, lights, projectors everywhere. Like, this is what was pictured in my head. I don't know what you guys are picturing, but in my head, I was picturing amazingness. And then the setup comes, and it's in the 28th floor of some non-disclosed location over next to Parliament and Big Ben and all that crap. And apparently you had to get a boat there, so it was like super secretive and stuff like that, which is neat. You know, it's neat for the players, but not for the audience. But I guess they were targeting this more towards the players, because it seemed like the players enjoyed it. They thought it was neat. It was a nice little small venue with, it was very intimate. I mean, like, really, I think everybody might have kissed once while they were in there. That's how close they were to each other. But, I mean, it was neat. I mean, couches everywhere. It seemed like there was a place for everyone to sit. But, you know, it's just not what I expected. I mean, you just had tables with black sheets over them. You had just standard chairs. You had BenQ monitors, which were nice. That was a plus. I'm glad they had those. But, I mean, it was nothing what I expected. And it kind of disappointed me in that matter. And then not alone what happened when the stream started. I mean, I thought they might have ran rehearsals on Friday, but I guess it didn't happen. And, you know, it is their first event. But that excuse can only be used so much, okay? Yes, it was their first event, but when you are preaching and keeping everything so secretive that this event is just going to blow everyone's mind, you want to make sure everything is as perfect as possible. Otherwise, you have critics like me that sit here and talk about everything that went wrong. So that's where I'm starting off. But the production-wise, like, they didn't get the glare down. I mean, that was pretty bad off the start. They needed that, and then the sound problems that went on, the camera angles that were going on. It just seems like they weren't prepared. And the hour delay, oh man. I don't know about you guys, but I've been up since about 3 yesterday. So when I heard about that hour delay, I was already tired. I was already tired at freaking 3:30 a.m. when it was supposed to start. And then the hour delay just set me back that much further. And then I sat here. I've been in this chair for about 16 hours straight. So after this, I'm gonna hit the bed and freaking sleep until tomorrow morning when it starts. But that, and then, I mean, I guess before I move into anything else, really, I want to talk about some of the stuff that went on at the end with the outro and everything, because I thought it was pretty funny. But I'm gonna get Scruff's opinion on it, and then I'm gonna get Alex Rubin's opinion. And you guys might not know who Alex Rubin is. He actually runs like this little blog website, esports. It's called esportsupdates.com, right? Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. He actually created a hub for this, and yesterday when I tweeted out looking for, you know, people for this panel to talk about Gfinity and everything afterwards, he hit me up, and he had a hub and everything, and he said he was going to be up for it, was going to watch every match, so he was into it. He was going to know everything that was going on, and that's the type of people I wanted on. So I invited him on. I tweeted out his hub every now and again. If you guys checked it out, it was neat. It had the schedules for every time zone. It was very simple. It was easy to navigate, and it was pretty useful for anybody that used it. But let's start with Scruff right here. What did you think, Scruff? Because me and Scruff have been in a Skype call since this thing started. We have been talking to each other for about 16 hours almost, and we're a little tired of each other, but it's nothing too fierce yet. But Scruff, what did you think of the whole beginning of Gfinity?
Considering they hyped it up so much, it was a bit of a, should we say, shambles. Like, we were literally sitting around for an hour waiting for it to start, and when it did start, there was so many audio issues and whatever else. It was pretty bad. Like, you couldn't hear any commentators. The game, like, the levels were wrong. You could hear so much, like, from, like, you've captured the flag, this, that, and the other, but you couldn't hear much else. And then once they actually, like, sorted it out, it kind of, like, ironed out towards the end of the day, but it still wasn't great. It still wasn't what they sort of made it out to be. You know
Yeah, I mean, just like for the first couple hours of both streams, you saw more of them adjusting the audio settings within the game than the actual gameplay, and that was very annoying to me. It was just a lot of things annoyed me. Now, granted, they panned everything out generally by the end of the day. It ran pretty smoothly by the end of the day, like, especially when they got down to one stream. That's the best I ever saw it at the very end, when they only had to run one stream for Call of Duty. Another thing that was annoying is that they had the wrong cameras for the streams. Like, you'd be watching the Alpha stream, but they would have the camera for the Bravo stream on the Alpha stream, and vice versa. So the cameras were mixed up and everything. It just seemed like, from a viewer standpoint, from my standpoint, it seemed like it was very unorganized and not well prepared at all. And that disappointed me a lot, because I expected a lot from Gfinity. With the huge prize pool of $55,000, all the money they've invested into this, being a total invite-only thing, and only 10 teams, the supposed top 10 teams from around the world invited to this event, you expect something great, and it just wasn't great to me. It was just mediocre. It had the effect of a small LAN to me. I mean, just because of all the big names that were there, it kind of wasn't a small LAN, but it still it had that small LAN atmosphere, which is not what I was expecting out of it. But Alex, you're here. What did you think about it?
No, I mean, I agree. I enjoyed it, but as you got towards the end of it, it sort of showed more and more that they definitely didn't think things through. Like, for the last 4 hours, it was almost completely pitch black whenever it would go to the commentators, because they didn't have any lights set up. So you kind of just saw people's face, because their black suit blended in with the dark background and the all blacked out curtains that were there before to block the giant glare that was shining in through the window. Yeah. So it's just a lot of stuff that, if they had done a rehearsal, like you said, I think it would have been a lot better executed. But I think that it still turned out okay. I think the middle was probably the best part of it.
Yeah, I mean, it did seem to pan out after a while, but it's just, don't get me wrong, like, the chat, I saw it a million times, oh, it's a shaky start for streams and everything like this, and I'll say it again, like, with all the hype you built around it, trying to trump MLG and COD Champs, you just expect so much more than what was actually offered from Gfinity. But, you know, hopefully they can do a G2. I know they plan on somewhat. I mean, this isn't like their only thing they're planning on doing, so hopefully they can continue doing this after this, but right now it's a shaky start. I hope tomorrow there's no bugs, and when I wake up I can watch the stream and not have to wait another hour. That's what I'm hoping for right now. But honestly, like, moving on from that, the end I loved, because I met Martin in Anaheim, and the dude's hilarious. But the end was funny. But before I tell you about what Martin said, the whole thing about when A-Spec, A-Spec, so if anyone saw my tweet earlier about that guy, then you know what I meant by that pause. But he said 7 hours of content. And so let's see. The event started at 4:30. It ended at 6. Okay? So that's 13 and a half hours that the stream was up, and there's only 7 hours of content. Do the math. That's 6.5 hours of downtime. That's how long it takes for Call of Duty and everything between maps. That's how much time you waste. 6.5 hours. That's something that needs to be addressed for Call of Duty Ghost. I'm not even joking. Like, time is such a factor in Call of Duty tournaments right now, and the fact that there's 7 hours of content and 7.5 hours of downtime, that's a huge problem for efficiency in the future for tournaments. And that was only a 10-team tournament with pool play. I mean, it's a bitch. It really is. We waste so much time in between matches, and I hope they fix that coming into Call of Duty Ghosts. I mean, maybe maybe without a 10-point system, it might fix it alone. So I mean, but that's all for the future. We don't know yet. But that boggles me that there was more downtime than there was content for the event, and that's just ridiculous in my opinion. But that's with every Call of Duty event so far. That's not just Gfinity. But what Martin said, man, he was like, the whole Clayster comment, just to end it with the joke, he's like, does Clayster just scream all the time? like, is he at home screaming at his mom to do his laundry or something? Like, that just cracked me up, because Clayster's a very hyped up individual, and if you guys saw the interview with Big Timer and Scumpy, they were talking about how loud Complexity was during that, because they're right next to each other, there's no sound dampening headphones, it's just them screaming. And even Ake said in his interview, like, they basically drowned out Optic's callouts and even their thinking. Like, even Big Timer and Scumpy admitted it. So that is a problem. I mean, but that's all part of the atmosphere, I guess, for Gfinity. I don't know what Gfinity thinks about that. Maybe I'll have Warren and them on Wednesday and we can talk about that a bit. I hope we can talk about that a bit. But before I get into the gameplay and everything that went down, because I do have every single score for all 20 matches that I'm going to go through, so we'll be here a while. But anything else that Scruff or Alex, you guys want to say about Gfinity, just in general, until we get into the games?
I think it's hard to like rival something like MLG's like production value when something like crowds aren't involved. I think crowds and cheering and stuff adds a lot of value to sort of like atmosphere for people sitting at home as well. That's like, yeah. I think if I was sitting at home watching an event, I'd want to hear people screaming and shouting, like people cheering and going, oh, when things go wrong and when things go good and stuff like that. It's just a big part for me. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, someone even mentioned that on Twitter. I think we were talking about that actually in the Skype chat when Optic was playing, that a huge part of Optic's like hype is their fan base, like the crowd that gets into it, and Optic just didn't have anything hyping them up really, and that might be a factor, and that's where coaches come in. That's where like Mr. X comes in for Complexity. I mean, they're freaking, God, those you'd think they were on something, but they're not. They're just hyped up on confidence and stuff. Like, I'm not even going to go into all the shit that I saw in the chat whenever Complexity was on stream, because it's stupid, and that shit needs to stop for real. It's very immature for you guys to say half the shit you do in the chat, but that's Call of Duty for you.
Yep.
But Alex, you got any last words you want to say just in general about Gfinity before we head into the matches?
No, I mean, not really. I think that they can just improve a lot by sort of recognizing what they did wrong this year and actually sort of taking criticism to heart. Like the downtime, they could probably realize that a whole bunch of that was from, players having to sit there and warm up because there weren't any other stations for them to warm up on.
No.
So I think if they take the criticisms and the positives, I guess, from this year, they'll probably learn a lot about what they can do to make G2 a better experience.
No. Well, actually, I just remembered two more things I want to touch on before we go into the matches. First of all, the gamertag situation. Like, if you're trying to create a brand, like, I know Optic did it and everything, and they're like the most reputable team, I guess, in this community right now, or they have that image as the most reputable team. Like, even they did it, like Scumpopotamus, Scumpopotamus, whatever the hell else he did. Like, I guess that's part of their personality over there. But like Optic's really already built its brand, and maybe they shouldn't do that to try and set a precedent for the other teams, but maybe they just don't care either. But like teams like Impact, who are kind of outlandish and the bad kids of Call of Duty right now, are trying to create their own brand as a team, and you have them in game as Wizkilla and Parasite's right hand and whatever else there was. There's like multiple ones. That doesn't look good. It doesn't look good.
That was something to MRG. Like a lot of you people that watched it probably didn't see, but like when we were doing the team photos and stuff before the actual event started at MRG Anaheim, they specifically said, "Don't mess around with your gamer tags. So it looks bad. Don't do it. Just use your team name and your name, or just your name, because it makes things bad for like
Well, just
production value, and it looks, but it can get confusing for casters as well, like, especially if it's something completely different to what your name is. I mean, I know it wasn't in this case, but people do put some retarded crap.
Well, I mean, even bigger than casters, potential investors or sponsors that are looking at Call of Duty for the first time, looking to sponsor a team, and you are arguably one of the best teams in Call of Duty, and they might be looking at you. They have an eye on you. They want to dump money into you. They want to sponsor you. They want to put their logo on your jersey, and then they come in and they see Parasite's right hand is your gamer tag. This kid's an idiot and immature. I'm not going to sponsor that kid. Like that would be my first impression of that right there. And
majority of people's
and that would be, yes, thank you. That would be the majority of people's impressions when they first see that. So if you're trying to create something, be professional about it. Be a man about it. Don't freaking be a child about it. I mean, you guys aren't children anymore. They're all 18, 19. They're seniors in high school. They're graduated. They're freshmen in college. They know better by now. It's time to grow up, and that does need to change. That's one of the many things that need to change that I'll just keep reiterating every week on this show until someone hears it and eventually does something about it. But and the second point, that was the first one. The second point is the whole coaching thing. Like it was Cirque de Soleil in there. Cirque de Soleil, okay, like Cirque du Soleil, Cirque de Soleil. I've been pushing that hashtag around lately. Like it was a circus in there. Like you had APOC coaching Envy, behind coaching Impact, behind coaching whatever. You had like Xanity coaching Impact at one point in time or something. You had Prof Jake coaching TCM at one point. You had Capo teaching Impact at the last match. So Impact, that's 3 different coaches already. You had.
That's one thing I want to say, by the way. Can I just
hold on. You had APOC. Yeah, I already said APOC behind Envy, which Rambo's been very adamant about. He does not like coaches behind him, so I just know he probably wasn't happy that entire time, and I don't know why APOC even got behind them. I know people are saying the hype factor, but honestly, with players like Rambo and stuff that are already coaches inside their own chat, it honestly just gets distracting at times. And yes, that's the only match they won, and that is a solid argument for anyone that wants to argue with me. But honestly, that was probably maybe the weakest team they played also. Arguably, I mean, Envy should have freaking walked through their pool. There's something going on there. But APOC should not have been behind them. One thing, he's a coach for FaZe Clan apparently, and he's also the brand manager for Impact Kai, which has zilch to do with Envy or EON or anything. So I don't know why he was behind them. I don't know why Gfinity would let people just walk up and grab a headset and coach no matter what. That makes zero sense to me. It's not allowed really anywhere else. It's not allowed at MLG. You have to have your coach on the freaking on the sign up, on the team ladder, team leader, whatever it is, before the event. You can't just have some random person walk up and coach you at an event. So I don't know why they would allow that. It looked very unprofessional to me on stream. I mean, that's how it looked to me. I don't know how it looked to anybody else. But I know Scruff wants to say a few things about it too.
Yeah, people saying that like maybe we're looking too much into it. Like, especially like if any more players are watching, stop coaching other teams because they're teaching other teams. Like essentially, like in my eyes, we're the best hardpoint team in the game. Like we really are. And like my players sitting behind another team saying, "Oh, do this, do that." It's giving away like how we play and stuff like that. It puts us at a disadvantage when we play them at a later date because they learn from it. It's just it's not good for my team especially. I don't think they realise that. But yeah.
I don't. Did you notice that, Alex? Do you have anything to say about it?
Yeah, I mean, not really. It seemed really out of place. I know that the casters in the end were talking about how Envy probably needs a coach, but it didn't seem like an invitational tournament was the place to sort of test that out with someone who is just sort of there coaching another team or leading another team. It seemed like a weird place to start that. And it did kind of seem like it was kind of just free reign in there and people could do whatever they wanted. That did strike me as a little bit odd.
Okay, so some people definitely feel different about this. Naturally, there's a lot of people in here, so everyone's going to have their own opinion. I just want to... When I'm looking at this tweet in the Twitter feed, actually the latest one, I respect that Impact doesn't feel the need to be fake. They just play the game and have fun. People need to grow up, not Impact. Okay.
Disagree.
How am I going to tackle this? Oh, Lord, how am I going to tackle this? Hold on. Give me a crack at this. All right. So, doesn't feel a need to be fake. They just play the game and have fun. Okay, don't get me wrong. I'm all about being you. That's like one of my standpoints. Be you. Don't be fake. Don't be two-faced. Don't be a douche, essentially. Okay? But do that on your own personal time behind closed doors. There's a difference between public image and being yourself. When you're trying to create a brand like Impact supposedly is with APOC, you don't want to make yourself look like an idiot to the public because that just hurts your brand that you're trying to create. Esports, especially Call of Duty now, with the way it's growing, it's starting to become a business. Okay? You don't see CEOs on Twitter tweeting the middle finger to everybody. You don't see all this drama, but I mean, that might be a bad frickin' whatever, a bad comparison to some of you in there, but it's essentially the same idea. Like, you don't see grown-ups doing that stuff. You don't see, like, most grown-ups have Facebook now, and I know they don't do half that shit on Facebook. So it's just, there's a difference between your personal life and your public image, and those things need to be separated. If that means creating your own personal Twitter that's locked, where you can vent on that to a close knit of friends that won't plaster it all over Twitter to the masses, then that's fine. But don't do it on the Twitter that you are trying to brand yourself as a team or a company. It just makes yourself look like an idiot, and no one's going to want to invest in that. That's all I'm saying. Now, Scruff, you can have the floor.
You pretty much put it in a bud, to be honest with you. But like, I don't know. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty details of it because I want to sound politically correct. But if any of you was at Anaheim or saw the things that were posted the day after the last day of Anaheim, like stuff like that, you've got to be conscious of what's going on. You're in the public eye all the time, even when you think you might not be. And people talk, and you've just got to be sort of conscious of who you do it around and stuff like that. Because, like, I don't know, say someone did something one night that was maybe not like something that someone should put on Twitter. Another teammate goes, "Oh, you got so wasted last night. You did this, you did that," and it's all on Twitter. And it's like, maybe you shouldn't put that on Twitter. Maybe you should have just like said it to his face or something like that. Just the main thing is Twitter. People don't realize how important Twitter is. Like
they don't. Okay, the perfect example of a total 180 on character, and you know, he has his outbursts sometimes. Is a very, I don't know how to say this. A very, I don't want to say flamboyant, but something along those lines. Some synonyms. Sorry, I'm a little tired here. My linguistic skills are a little off, but right now, like Aches was a frickin', he was crazy, dude. That dude was insane. If you remember just a year back, some of the stuff that Aches did on Twitter, on stream even, some of the words he said on stream, on MLG stream, on stuff like that, in interviews even, he said it today on an interview. That boy in interviews, man, he needs to cut out those words sometimes, but he has really calmed down since he joined Complexity. I mean, a professional organization that came in outside of Call of Duty, and they changed him for the better because he is representing their brand that they built. And yes, he is still crazy, but he has changed a whole lot. He's not too crazy in the public's image anymore. Like, you don't see too much about him on Twitter except here and there. There's nothing like Impact that you see every single day. It's just, there's a time to grow up, and the time is now. And that's something that needs to get across to these people. And I hope, honestly, that Impact, I hope they just head back to the hotel and sleep and go to sleep. They don't go back and start drinking like I think they will. I hope they actually go back to the hotel and sleep and prepare for tomorrow, because I have a bet with Keemstar and I want to win it. So I know Mr. X is watching this. If they're in your hotel, freaking tell them to go to sleep for me. Oh no, you want them to lose.
He's not going to tell him to go to sleep. He wants him to.
All right, well, hold on. I'm about to throw some DMs out. But honestly, like, I hope they go to sleep. I hope they go to sleep. But honestly, Alex, you're in here, man. You have any? I mean, I don't really know you too well. I don't think a lot of us really know you too well. But what do you have an opinion on this?
Well, so as someone who didn't follow a lot of esports players further back than last fall, it's been really interesting sort of watching the transition of players who are becoming more mature and then players who are sort of letting it get to them and then just kind of saying, like, well, I'm good. I can sort of talk about whatever the fuck I want
Hell yeah,
on Twitter.
you don't represent anybody. You represent yourself, right?
Yeah, well, that's kind of what they say. So that's like you were saying, Impact kind of pops up almost every day because they kind of love to just run their mouths off on Twitter
Yeah.
about random stuff. Like that whole, basically like the entire week after Anaheim was almost kind of like embarrassing or tiring to be on Twitter all the time of just constant excuses being spouted of why Complexity won and other people lost. And I think that was kind of a moment that sort of the community showed its immaturity. And so I hope that in the future, more people will learn to sort of adapt to that and not do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's all, I like to say it's going to take time, but honestly, time is something we don't have in the esports world, in my opinion, so it's either do it now or suffer the consequences. Yes, they've made 6 figures in the past 3 months, but you can't win forever.
First impressions are everything as well. Like sometimes you can break your image beyond repair. Like I know Matt was quite like Nate Shop was quite mouthy back in the day, but he's managed to sort of fix up, and he's made a good career out of it. But Impact are going to the way where they're going to break their images beyond repair, and everyone will just like want them to lose and have no support for the rest of their careers. And
I mean, a lot of people already want them to lose, really.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying, but it's going to the point where people are just like never going to start supporting them, even no matter how hard they change. It's going to take a long time for them to fix their image.
What have I made this year? I've made zilch, buddy. But I've got more common sense than most of the players in this community, so I like to say that. I have an education. I don't have to rely on esports to support myself, so I have that. You know, I'm just doing this as a hobby right now. If it turns into a career, that's amazing. I mean, I love esports. I want to turn this into a career, but I'm not relying on it like some people are. And if you're relying on it as much as some of these people are, you need to take it as a business and not as a hobby. It's not a joke anymore. They seriously need to start taking it seriously. So, you know, Parasite got that PGL contract. I don't know how. I think I'm probably going to have PGL on the show sometime soon, so maybe I'll ask them while they're on the show. That'll be an interesting question. 30K contract from PGL? That's hard to believe, but if it is, that's pretty amazing. He's the most respectable player probably on Impact, and they were the #1 team when they approached them, so that's probably why he got it. So I mean, if they keep acting the way it is, I could see them getting it taken away. That's totally plausible, in my opinion. But let's get to the matches. So the first 2 matches this morning were Prophecy against Unite EU, and that was a pretty dominating. It was done pretty quickly in dominating fashion by Prophecy. They 3-0'd them pretty quickly. Actually, the hard point was very close. Both hard points of the first 2 matches was very close. That actually woke me up. Because I was like half asleep, and I was watching because I had both my screens going, and I had the Alpha stream and the Bravo stream, and then it was like they both came down to the wire on standard. They both came down to the frickin' green hill on standoff. It was ridiculous. Just the last seconds. They were both. The Prophecy Unite match was divided by 3 points, and the Envious and Curse match was divided by 2 points, and it was just ridiculous. But the match I would want to talk about in that first group is definitely Envious versus Curse, because Envious was the team. I had them placing 4th. Unfortunately, they did not make it to tomorrow, and that is mind-boggling. Very mind-boggling. That's bigger than mind-boggling. If you want to know, it's mind-boggling. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe that first hard point just kind of stunned them that they lost by 2 points because they did have the lead, and frickin' Curse came back, and then just, man, it just seemed like from there NVS was on tilt. They never got their groove.
I don't know what's happening. Like, to be honest, like Rambo was using an MSMC. He usually uses an MP7. Proofy running around with a sub, and he usually uses an AR. Like, they used to be one of the best. They were up there. They were one of the top 3 teams, easy. And like, it's the same roster, but they've had more practice. How can you get worse with more practice? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on.
To me, it seems like they've had a bad placement at MRG, and they've tried to change things that they think are wrong, but They're not necessarily. It's just
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand it. It's just proof he should not be using a sub. I'm sorry.
no, definitely not.
He shouldn't. He's like one of the he is like a top 3 AR in Call of Duty, and he's using a submachine gun. I don't like the one time he used the assault rifle was in the matches they won, and he was raping. Like I don't know what's going on with Envy. They have some stuff to work out, obviously. I don't. There's going to be some changes made, I'm sure. Rambo does not like to lose. I mean, the first time he placed out a top 6 on any event was in MLG Anaheim, and now he got 9th and 10th out of 10 teams. So, what?
The people saying that they're not worse, so the team just caught up. Teams don't just like catch up to the point where they absolutely dominate you consistently throughout the whole event. Like I don't know. There's definitely something that they've changed in the gameplay. Like we say, they're using different guns when they shouldn't be. They're just not the team that they were. Plus, Stanville hurt his hand too.
Yes, was that? I mean, I heard the rumor going around that someone on Envy hurt their hand, and we were only assuming Stainville because he was the one performing poorly on NVS today. I mean, he didn't really show up this weekend, so.
I think they specifically said that it was Stainville.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was. But, I mean, you know, stuff like that happens. I don't know how bad his hand injury was. I don't think any of us do but him, really, and probably envious. But I don't know.
He did struggle. He struggled
did.
this event, but he has had good events in the past.
He did struggle.
CUD Champs, he was the GOAT, mate. Like, he was going mental.
So maybe he did have a hand issue, and maybe that did affect his gameplay that much. That, I mean, because he was kind of hurting Envy a little bit. I mean, granted, none of them really played too great. They had their shining maps and everything like that, but it's just Envy's on tilt for some reason these past couple events. I don't know what's going on with them. They need to work something out. Hastro has to go back home and frickin' pop open the hood and redo some stuff, but we'll see what happens with Envy in the coming weeks. It's gonna suck to have to sit there tomorrow, especially since, I mean, you're considered one of the top teams there by far. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something's going on there. But then the next group of matches, Optic Gaming and Ozone Giants. Everyone pretty much thought Optic Gaming would win that. They took that 3-1. The only map they lost the first map, actually, the first hardpoint on standoff, 247 to 209. So, I mean, the first maps were very shocking this entire event. It seemed like the EU teams were just coming out with a vengeance for some reason, like this was our turf and we're going to show NA like what we can do. And one team did. One team showed NA what they could do. And it'll be interesting to see how they pan out tomorrow, only losing one map. We'll talk about them later. But it definitely, a lot of the EU teams actually came out today. I mean, this was kind of a really eye-opening event, very surprising. We're talking about this all day, Scruff. We're like, what is going on with this? It's like all these teams that are supposed to just be steamrolling, these EU teams are just having problem. Like everybody was. Everybody. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
Man, it's not the jet lag either. Don't use that as an excuse. If you're from America and you come over here, don't use that. I've been to America. The jet lag doesn't do anything to you. You have a kip when you get there, and you sound. Don't use it as an excuse because I ain't taking it. It's not an excuse.
You didn't even play, dude. So how would you even know?
But I was fine. I'm not tired.
What?
I wasn't tired. I was sound.
But you didn't play. You didn't have that mental stress on you.
Ask the other lads. All the other lads will tell you it was sound. It was fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
They'll just say that now out of principle, man. You remember your top AMs over here, dude. Remember that. Your top AMs.
Right, we're the best. I don't care. If we were at that event, we'd be top 3. Easy. Seriously, we'd be top 3. Trust me.
Your top AMs over here, bro. Your top AMs over here. But it's okay. It's okay. It's alright. It's alright. That's a discussion for another time. It's okay. I understand.
So
I understand.
Do you legitimately think they use this excuse so much, this jet lag excuse, that has anything more to do with it than the 3 days that they were here when they should have been, getting accustomed to their jet lag, but they were out until 6 in the morning getting hammered every single night?
I mean, I don't know what they were doing exactly, but I know like most of the teams, Envy even said, some players on Envy and some players on Optic even, and even, well, Impact you kind of expect that from, but that they only got like 3 hours of sleep the night before. It's like you were there for 3 days. You had 3 days to adjust your sleep schedule.
Yeah.
Well, it was 2 a.m. It was 2 a.m. last night when I went to bed, and Impact was still tweeting selfies of themselves on Twitter. So
I mean, we saw Killa passed out on the couch
Yeah.
early in the morning. He was tired. Oh, you know what I forgot to do that I was gonna do? Damn it! Dude, you know what I forgot to do? Okay, so naturally, all you guys saw Killa wearing his sunglasses the last match. I was gonna start the show wearing sunglasses, dude. Damn it! I totally screwed that up. I was gonna start the show wearing sunglasses, and I screwed it up. Now that I think about it, damn it. Well, you live and you learn. Damn exhaustion playing with my mind.
Oh.
But in that other group, we had TCM Gaming and Team AAA, AAA, the team with Gataga, Gotaga, French Monster, Frenchie, whatever people are calling him nowadays. But they were kind of surprising, honestly. Not in the TCM game. The TCM game, well, I mean, TCM took them in a pretty solid manner. Well, actually, no, there's OT, 6-4, and S&D, but still TCM came out. But AAA, man, just later in the event, dude, that Envy match later in the event between them was ridiculous. And when I found out that if Envy lost, and there's that whole thing going around about pool play potentiality, I was like, you know what, this kind of sucks because I've been up for so long that I really don't want to stay up for another hour and a half waiting for this round robin to finish. But at the same time, I kind of wanted to see another Envious AAA matchup to see what would go down, because that match was crazy. Like, if Gotaga freaking got that 2-piece in that last round, they would have won that, and Envious wouldn't have won a freaking match today. Like, just think how close Envious was to not winning a match today. Envious is like headline news right now, really, within the Call of Duty community, just over the past 2 weeks.
Well, yeah, it's been 3 months and they fell from grace, right? They went all the way through winners bracket at COD Champs at the end of August, or the end of April. That was, less than 3 months ago. And now all of a sudden they can't win a match at, a tournament where Unite EU gets straight slaughtered, and there's opponents that Envious should have been able to beat if they can get through winners bracket of COD Champs.
I saw in the chat, look, I do not hate Impact. It's just I love Impact. I love them in person. They're great people to hang out with. They're very chill in person. They're great guys. It's just on Twitter they're morons. Online they're morons. So I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna call them out on it. Because someone needs to tell them what they're doing, and APOC isn't doing it, so someone needs to. I don't know who they'll listen to, but someone needs to tell them what they're doing wrong.
Yeah, look, people are putting in the chat. People put in the chat that Karma is a douche, killer, blah blah blah. This, but you don't actually know them in person. Like, that is the image you're portrayed to them by the way they portray themselves on Twitter. If you actually got to know them in person, you'd actually see that they are actually good people. They're not bad people.
Dude,
they're
honestly,
going about things wrong.
Like honestly, like freaking Parasite's like the coolest dude in person. Like,
yeah,
he's
really
the most humble. He's the funniest dude to hang out with. He's the nicest dude to hang out with. Like, he's just great. It's just online. They get back home and something changes in them. I don't understand what it is. I wish they were the same online as they were offline, and they would be so much bigger than they are now. They would have no problems with sponsors or anything if they were the same way online as they were offline. And it's just crazy when I think about it like that, and it's kind of saddening too, just because they are kind of like they're kind of on the front lines of the Call of Duty community as far as images and everything, since they are the top players in the scene, and everybody kind of looks at them first and then goes down the line. So I mean, it really is on the pros to create the image that Call of Duty Esports is here to stay, and that we're mature and we're worth investing into. And that's something that they don't understand yet, and maybe they never will. But they're not only hurting themselves, they're hurting the rest of the community as well. So, but the next game, Complexity and Prophecy. Now this This game, I was excited to see. Complexity, obviously. A lot of friends on Complexity. Mr. X, obviously. I've talked about him quite a bit on the past shows just after Anaheim. I think him and Clayster, man. I mean, they just totally transformed Complexity into a powerhouse. It's ridiculous. I mean, Mr. X is there for the hype and the mentorship and the veteran stature that he offers to the team. And then Clayster just is a freaking god on land. Like, I don't know how else to put it. He's one of the most consistent players on land. He's always dropping numbers. He's always hyped. He's always just in that clutch moment. It's crazy. I don't know what it is about him.
Yeah, but for real though, we do need to start following Clayster around to see if he does actually shout at everybody, like shout at people in the street and at his mum and stuff.
Shout him out.
We generally do need to do that.
Yo, Clay, man. Do you shout? No, actually, Clay doesn't shout all the time. He's actually really just quiet and somber and chill. It's just he gets hype, man.
Do you not think when he had a ponytail, he looked like
Superman.
Rambo?
No.
Yes, he did, dude. When he had a ponytail and facial hair. Look it up. When he had a ponytail and facial hair, he looked like Rambo with a ponytail. I'm not even joking. I'm being serious. Go and have a look. I swear to God.
I'm having a look right now, and no.
Yes, he does. Trust me, he does.
No,
Clayster doesn't cheat. I'm not even getting into that.
No, we're not getting into that. I don't talk about that crap anymore.
No, that's okay.
But then the next map, Curse EU against Icons Impact. Naturally, we all thought Impact would win that in a dominating fashion, and they kind of did. It was close, threw us a scare, but they definitely finally woke up on that last hardpoint match in Yemen and won that 250 to like 67 or 97. It was one of those two. So they won in a pretty dominating fashion on the hardpoint. But honestly, just the EU teams coming out again, showing us that they're not weaker than the NA teams like most people like to think.
The thing is that I don't think anybody apart from Complexity, I don't think any NA team or any other team really dominated anybody else. I think apart from the Complexity games, every other game was close. I mean, even Complexity did drop maps, but I can't think of a game Impact completely dominated somebody to the point of where it's horrible.
Yeah,
you have to look at your
TCM did that. TCM was pretty consistent all the way through. We'll
get to that later. But I don't. That makes no sense to me. I don't know how the hell they did that. That was crazy. But
well, I mean, just with TCM again. I mean, that's the next match, and they 3-0'd Curse. Hardpoint Yemen, then S&D Express 6-4, and then CTF Slums OT, which that was the crazy CTF where Marky B had the clutch in OT, and Monksy had like a 13 kill streak throughout the game. He had like a 13 kill streak, then like an 8 kill streak. That Monksy was going off this entire event. He went off in the last match for TCM as well.
Yeah.
There's some crazy stuff going on in this match. I mean, I can generally the best part of Gfinity were definitely the matches. I mean, I don't know if Gfinity meant to do it, but the way they matched everybody up, it made for a great, entertaining tournament. Other than all the bugs they had with the casters and volume and the lighting and the camera angles and all that stuff, when it came down to it, the gameplay was great. And
yeah, there was entertaining matches for everybody across EU and NA to watch.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Now next we got Complexity versus Unite EU. And Complexity came out, won the hard point, and they lost the S&D, which is kind of a shocker because S&D is one of Complexity's strong points. They normally take the S&Ds. That was kind of a shocker. But then they came out, won a close TTF 4-3, and then they absolutely dominated Unite in hardpoint Yemen 250 to 129. So.
Well, and I think that Search and Destroy was surprising also because that was the first round that Unite EU took all day.
Yeah.
It was a shame for them actually because they did although everybody says they suck because they didn't win a game or whatever
they were all close.
They were all really close. Apart from maybe some of the games they played against Complexity, they were all really really close. You got to give them props for that.
Yeah. But the next game is the infamous AAA game, AAA versus Envious match, where, man, it was crazy. So Envious goes up 2-0. I mean, 250, 184, then 6-4 in the S&D Meltdown. I mean, it's okay, Envious NVS finally woke up. They finally woke up. They're here. They're here to stay. They're going to freaking run through the rest of this pool play. Here's the NVS we all know and love. And then I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on within the chat. I don't know what's going on in their heads, but they lost a close match on CTF standoff, and then they lost that hardpoint Yemen 244 to 216. And it was just, and then they that 5-6 on S&D raid, they squeaked that one out because Gotaga kind of choked on his flank there a little bit. So, but it was just way too close for comfort. It was crazy. I was standing on pins and needles the entire time.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. That was a great match. And actually, Ego just hit me up, and he is playing in an Icons tournament right now, but he said he would stop by if I wanted him to. And I want Ego in here. Who doesn't like to hear Ego's opinion? I want to hear Ego's opinion on Gfinity before we move into the next match. I really want to hear I really want to hear Ego's opinion on Gfinity. This is going to be good. Guys, while I'm doing this, tweet the stream out. 561 viewers, that's great. I love it. Thanks for coming and watching the show. I hope it's entertaining for you guys. I hope I'm doing all right. But tweet the stream out, guys. Hashtag TheWRant for questions. That'll be later in the show, obviously. But we're going to get Ego in here. And this is going to be good. Come on, Ego. Get that beautiful voice in here.
He's so beautiful. So good looking.
I haven't heard it since yesterday, man.
He's actually the best looking person I've ever seen. Are you there, Paul?
How you talking about me? What's up, homie?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, dude, I'm always talking about you, Ego. I'm always talking about you. Okay, so we're going over the matches right now, but we're gonna backtrack a little bit. What did you think about Gfinity just in general, like off the start? What did you think about the production, all the kinks that they had to work out, and everything that happened with it?
Yeah, I mean, the bumps can happen anywhere. It seemed like they were almost testing live at times, if that makes any sense. Like probably 2 hours before it went live, they kind of had like what to me seemed like some testing going on, and it at times seemed like they didn't realize they were like whose mic was live when it was.
There was a time where Puckett did not know he was live on camera, and I guess he didn't know the mic was live either. He dropped the F-bomb twice. I was like, what? Puckett?
There was more than that, too.
I know. There was more than that, but I was like, Puckett, the guy that puckers up every time he hears any hint of the F-bomb on an MLG stream, and he just dropped it twice. I was like, he has to not know that he is live, because there's no way he would do that if he knew he was live.
There was also a moment as well where they were on about some mics not working, and they were saying, haven't we got to deal with these people? Aren't they sponsoring this event? They were like, yeah, but they don't work. It was like,
that was Castro.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, they do work. You just don't know they're working.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, they had some kinks off the start, but by the end of the day, everything smoothed out. I can honestly say that the last match versus the Impact Envious match was it was pretty flawless. I mean, there weren't any problems. I think they finally worked out the kinks, so hopefully tomorrow we'll all see a better performance. I hope so. It's what I'm expecting at least. I expected it to start off, but shit happens.
I saw like a kind of makeshift bracket. I don't know if it was real or not, but I'm pretty sure if you can confirm the bracket's single elimination, right?
Yeah, it's single elim.
And Complexity and Impact play each other in like second round or whatever.
Ooh, really?
I don't know. Like the first game played tomorrow for top 4. So I know TCM played Giants for top 4, and then Optic play. I don't know who
Optics, AA, Prophecy is Impact, and Complexity and Curse EU play, and then it goes from if Complexity and Impact win, then they would play each other right away.
And it's all best of 5s throughout the entire event. I saw it here.
Yeah.
I just know it's tomorrow morning. It's starting off with 2 streams again, which I hate. I really do, but it went fine today. But I really do hate the whole two stream thing, especially for an event like this where it's so like intimate and low key and not like extravagant in any way. Like I think 1 stream would have been fine. They could have cut down on like caster costs and stuff and focused on their production a little more. but it
Yeah,
was
but I think they did the production was good. They just had the hiccups. Like
yeah, they had a lot
it's not
of
like
hiccups.
they had a lot of good things behind it, and they had the right idea. There was just the issues at the beginning, but I mean that can happen anywhere. To be honest,
Yeah,
you
I know.
never.
I said that to me. Like, it can't happen anywhere, but it's just like all the hype they put around this event and everything. Like, it's gonna be better than MLG. It's gonna rival COD championships and everything like that. Like, they put this image in our heads that it was just gonna blow our minds, and my mind was not blown. So I don't know. They got a lot to work on. I mean, they plan on having more events. I hope they can have more events after this. I hope so.
I think it's definitely a good thing as well.
I want to see a G2. I definitely want to see a G2. I really do.
I'm pretty sure they do have more events planned,
Yeah.
but man, to see Envy go down again, like I knew that they would struggle against a team like Impact, the Complexity, and maybe some of them like the upper teams, but like I didn't really know about a lot of the like a Curse EU and the AAA. I didn't really know anything about them, and I thought Envy would still be able to really like not even be dominant, but be able to take a best of 5 from them. Like
Oh
obviously,
yeah,
their biggest
even
problem
me.
is hardpoint. Like that's in my opinion. Like that's why Proofy changed to a sub. Well, we took advantage of them really bad in hardpoint MLG. I mean, you have to be God to be able to get away with running 2 ARs consistently every map in hardpoint, and like that was something they knew they needed to change. But I just don't. One thing I've always preached is pieces, and like I don't know, I just don't think they had the pieces to really change to have like dominant subs, which is what you need in hardpoint. Like a lot of people give Clayster so much credit; he's a great anchor. So is Haggy, but those teams are great at hardpoint because their subs are dominant. Like that's just a fact. Like if you don't have dominant subs, you're basically giving away hard points, and at that point, you're playing from behind. They're a team that when they lose energy, their heads drop, which is not
Yeah.
something that you would think would be common from any team that's led by Rambo, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They just seem like they obviously weren't on the same page. It's like disappointing, but it kind of has been building up to be like that. I think that something will change. Something has to change. There's no way.
Yeah.
Anaheim, okay, fine, fluke. To happen twice in a row, they're just a higher caliber team. All 4 of them are higher caliber players. Those pieces just don't work together. That can happen. It happens a lot.
But I don't. But it worked in the beginning. Like what happened in the middle that caused it to crumble. You know what I mean?
Did you
Like,
watch them in the beginning? Like, I'm not bashing at all. Rambo is, and I'm not blaming Rambo at all. But I think this hurt them, and I watched them a lot in the beginning, and they were strapped with caps. Like they abused the caps to the point where it ended up hurting them once it was gone. And they're all amazing, talented players. I figured they'd be adjusted, but they have not been the same team since the cap's been gone.
yeah,
And,
no,
and
I was talking.
the cap gave them what they're missing, which is pressure on the hill. Like,
Yeah, I know. Scruff was talking about that about Impact a little bit. That ever since the foul has been gone, that Impact kind of hurt a little bit after that.
Parasite hasn't been as dominant, I don't think, no. And it's the fact that, like, but it kind of gave us a boost at the same time, because over here the foul's been banned for a lot longer than you guys, so we've had a lot more practice setting up with M8s and using other things as such. So, like, that's why I think we were so good at hardpoint when it came to Anaheim, because we have had so much practice using M8s and things like that. Our IRs were just so dominant compared to like we completely dominated Parasite again when we played Impact in Anaheim. Like we just shut him out completely, and they suffered so badly for it.
Yeah, I mean, I just know like a big change definitely from NA going over there is no shotguns, because I know a lot of the players over here got used to using the shotgun, especially in a hardpoint scenario. I know that was one of the biggest complaints from the EU teams coming over to Anaheim was the shotguns. Like it was hard. It was hard for them to adjust the shotguns in hardpoint, just because they are pretty OP at times. But I think that might have played a factor as well. And maybe I'm wrong on that standpoint, but I think it did, Because I know a lot of people started running that freaking dual-wield M8 shotgun bullshit and stuff like that, so I don't know how much of a factor that played into it, but it had some.
Yeah, Quantic abused us with that shotgun. Absolutely abused us. It was horrible. Yeah, it's bad.
It was crazy, man. But did you watch most of the event, Ego? I know you've been playing all day. Did you actually watch all of it?
No, I mean the tournament that we were playing didn't start until like right about the end of the Impact Envy match. So I watched everything from the start until I think like right after Impact won their first match, and then I slept and woke back up and watched the last 3 hours or so. So I missed the middle.
No. Yeah, I didn't sleep. I thought I was going to sleep, and then I didn't sleep. Like, there's one point where I was like this, and I was about half asleep, and then Scruff came back and woke me up. Like, I would have been passed out just sitting here in the chair. It's been a long day, and right now I'm wide awake because the show's live, so I'm wide awake for some reason right now. But I know right when the show ends, I'm just going to crash, and then I'm going to sleep until the stream starts back up again, which is going to be 6 a.m. my time, which is Central, so 7 Eastern, and that's 4 Pacific Standard Time, and then 5 Mountain Time if you're in Denver or anything like that. So those are the times for tomorrow, unless there's another delay, which I'm not expecting one, of course. They should have worked all the bugs out yesterday, but you know, we'll see. Everything happens. Stuff happens. I've already said that. Stuff does happen at these events. It's just at something like this you wouldn't expect as much to happen, but it's their first go around. They'll work all the bugs out, and hopefully at G2 it'll be amazing. It'll be a bigger venue. I know they're not planning, hopefully, from what they've been saying, they're not planning on it being an intimate event. They're planning on it being an open event for teams to sign up for and stuff like that. So,
what's that for Gfinity 2?
Yeah, for G2.
Okay.
Which would be interesting. Or maybe they'll stick with the intimate event. I don't know. We know with Gfinity by now that we don't know what's going on. It's all up in the air. They're very secretive about what's going on with them.
But I think COD Champs nailed like the balance between it being really exclusive and private, and the production value of having like a small audience and everything. I think COD Champs was like the like the benchmark they want to aim for. Like they had the soundproof booths, they still had the stage, they still had a small audience, but it was still only like a very limited amount of teams that was invite only, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah.
I mean, what they did Sunday at COD Champs was great with building those bleachers around the freaking sound dampening booths. Like, that was insane. Like, I've never been so hyped at an event than at COD Champs for some reason. I don't know why. But but
it was still a small event, right?
Yeah, no, it was still a small event. Like,
exactly.
Exactly.
So that's what they need to aim for.
Just like the atmosphere of it, the all around feel of it. Like, I actually jumped out of my seat at one point during the finals, and I have never done that ever at an esports event. So if that says anything, that says something to me.
Oh, I love a good shout, me. I do. I'll always jump out of my seat, especially on main stage.
You love
favourite.
You love a good shout, do you?
I do, mate. That game against the Impact, mate. My voice was killing after that.
Yeah, it was good. But now getting back to the matches, we ended on the Envious AAA match, and then this leads into the Prophecy Ozone Giants match. Prophecy won the first hardpoint 250-201, lost the S&D 6-4, won the CTF 2-1, and then won the final hardpoint 250-102. So it seemed like Prophecy was on their hardpoint game, definitely against Ozone Giants, which Ozone Giants ended up making in tomorrow. It was Unite and Envious that ended up getting kicked, right? Didn't make it tomorrow. So yeah. Ozone Giants actually beat Unite in the last match of the day to make it, right?
It was pretty close though, man.
Yeah, that game was a crazy game. I was watching that game. And, it was like the last S&D that I think barely went to 5-5, and then
and it was the pistol shot.
Yeah,
they missed the pistol shot, they lost because of it.
Freaking pistol shot.
It was just, like Pasco's renowned for playing on like a super low sensitivity. Like on this game, he plays on 3 sensitivity. You can't do that on this game, and you can't shoot people with that.
Well, I mean, like we were talking about that. You go from Pascal, like who shoots on 3 sensitivity, then you go to
the French who play
who play on like 15.
Yeah, what's the top sensitivity on this game if they play on it?
Like, I think it's 15. That got a good turn on in their final match. Was ridiculous on that CTF. And I want to talk about that. I don't know what the hell he was thinking on that final match, just from my viewpoint. Like, that flag route he took, I was like, what's going on here? Like,
you were just shouting.
He's lost. He's lost, man. He forgot what the map is. I don't know what's going on. But,
man. But yeah, like, French people are renowned for playing on the high sensitivities. They always have been. It's just crazy.
But then the match that I was waiting for, TCM Gaming and Icon's Impact, just because TCM was on fire, and Impact was actually the only team to take a map off of TCM so far this event. So TCM took that 3-1. They absolutely freaking whooped Impact on Hardpoint 250-102, which shocked the hell out of me. I honestly expected Impact to sweep them. But everything I expected this event did not happen, so... But then
that TCM match, I think it was Monksy on Yemen Hardpoint was just...
Dude,
Monksy was ridiculous.
Monksy was going off. Monksy, actually, I wrote that down. I wrote that down, actually. Like, it went 6-3 S&D Meltdown, TCM, then Icons won the CTF, Impact won the CTF 2-0, and then... TCM won the Yemen Hardpoint Yemen 250-124. Monksy went 46-14. He went crazy.
I think every pro player needs to quit for a year. Like right now, everyone needs to quit for a year because it seems that everybody that quits for a year and comes back, like absolutely dominates. Because like Clayster didn't play Modern Warfare 3. He quit for 2 years actually, didn't he, Clayster? And then Monksy quit for a year too. And they've just come back and just been absolutely unstoppable. It's crazy. But it's weird though because like TCM like when we scrim them, every single time we scrim them, we absolutely smash them. And that game they just went mental. I don't know what was going on, but it's crazy. I didn't expect it.
And then the next match, obviously, which was one we all were waiting for, was Complexity versus Optic. Had some flashbacks to UMG Chicago and everything.
Yeah.
And Complexity. Complexity is on another level now. They really are. I mean, 250, 167 in the hardpoint, 6-1 in the S&D, and then 2-1 in CTF slums, which was crazy because they were down 1-0, and then they were on the good side down 1-0, and then they swapped to the bad side and ended up capping 2 flags like it was nothing.
Well, they capped 2 in less than a minute and a half.
It was
worth of time period. It was ridiculous.
It was crazy, man. They're just they're on that level. They got the confidence. That's what it takes. I don't know. It's like they're the new Impact. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I mean, it's like they were Big Timer and Scumpy were complaining about was the noise. And I don't think whatever, they can complain about it all they want, but I think that like totally is a viable strategy that Complexity is kind of operating off of, which is just sort of be loud enough that it sort of makes your opponent a little unsettled and they get flustered, since this game is such a mental game that once you get off, you're kind of screwed.
Oh, actually, no.
Have you seen that Vine?
I saved it. Okay, everybody. I have this Vine. I'm going to screenshot it, and I'm going to put it up. It is awesome.
Where you at?
It is awesome. Let me remove this. Let me remove this Anaheim bracket. This is so great. Oh, I love it.
So good.
Alright, bear with me, people. Bear with me.
Find.
It's actually an Instagram video.
Yeah, whatever.
Alright, check this out.
We can't see it. There again.
Let's go! Where you at? Where you at? Right here, man. Right here.
I'm right here, man. I'm right here, man. Who said that? Was that Scumpy or Merc? I don't know. I got 2 different answers. Maybe it didn't even sound like either one of them, but
I think it was Scumpy.
That was funny as hell, dude. Like, I'm right here. Was it Merc? Okay, everyone was saying it was Merc, but Clayster.
Yeah, I'll link
oh man, that was so good. It's just like Complexity was in their minds. Like they even admitted in that interview, like I talked about earlier, that Complexity was loud. They couldn't think. They couldn't even hear their own callouts. They got in their heads. They were missing those helicopter soundproof headsets. And that's definitely, what do you think about that whole situation, Ego? The fact that it's like so close, you hear all this noise around you, and especially since you're sitting right across, that like a team like Complexity can just drown out your call outs and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed, or I've even commented to it, APOC and Impact, like, because that's how Complexity has really been so dominant. Like, they're a great team and they can be the best team, but that's really what's put them over the top. As for the situation, I mean, like, I don't know, like, I think so much of that is mental. Like, you need to be able to drown, like, everything out, no matter what it is, and just focus on, like, you can't just get distracted like that. I don't care if someone's yelling in your face, like, that is part of the game. Like, I remember we were playing main stage against Complexity, and I had a buddy of mine who I didn't even know, like, watched any Call of Duty. He texted me and was like, "Oh man, the kid on the end just keeps yelling at you. He's so annoying." And I was like, "Nah, like, that's just part of the game." But when I was sitting there, I actually couldn't even hear Clayster because of the main stage, between the main stage headset and just being so far away. Like, I was far left and he was far right. So like, maybe that's why, like, it didn't really affect us. But that does affect you a lot, and that's one thing people need to avoid, is like playing that. You don't want to play mind game with Complexity, pretty much. Like, they're gonna win that. They have aches on their team. Like.
Oh, aches, dude. Aches. If there's one thing that they need to do more tomorrow, is like right after a big play, they need to just go straight to the camera feed on the team. Like, I want to see the reactions of the teams. I didn't see enough of that, and I would really. I mean, the audience really loves to see that. It's one thing they did great at MLG, was the fact, like, right after a big play happened, like, one of the things that I still remember, and I'll probably always remember, is right when it was against what was it? Was it the Complexity? Was it the Complexity Impact match, actually, where Killa got angry and almost punched the monitor?
That was against us. That was against us.
Oh, that was against Epsilon. Yeah, that's right. That was against Epsilon. And and Killa, like, literally right when the play ended, they freaking just went straight to Killa, and they just got that moment. And it's those moments that are just so entertaining to watch and just make people laugh and stuff like that. Man, maybe they don't want that on their stream though as well. So I don't know, but
That was the most.
I like those moments. I don't know if they're good or bad, but I like them. I'd like to see more of them. So, what was the next match? What next match we got? The next match was Curse EU versus AAA again, and AAA won that 3-2 actually.
Yeah.
Curse won the first hardpoint Yemen 242-181. They won they lost S&D Raid 6-5. AA won that 6-5. AA won CTF Slums in OT, and then AA won hardpoint standoff 227-192. And that was the only game they won. Last two games, alright. Unite EU versus Ozone Giants, which we actually just talked about. That was a crazy match.
Yeah, that was really good.
That was a crazy match. It was so close. Everything was close except for the first two matches, which Ozone took the first hardpoint 251-69, then they took the first S&D raid 6-3, and then after that it was just Unite, CTF Slums OT won that, then hardpoint standoff 250-170 won that, and then the S&D on Meltdown was crazy. 6-5 went to final round. That was ridiculous. And then obviously we all remember, it still happened. We all remember the Icons Impact versus Envious match. 250-150 hardpoint Yemen, 6-3 S&D raid, and then 3-0 CTF Slums. Yeah.
Yeah, they got dominated pretty hard.
Yeah, that was rough.
They were until. So the overall records are Optic 3-1, NVS 1-3, Complexity 4-0, Icons Impact 3-1, Prophecy 2-1, Curse Gaming 1-3, Unite Gaming 0-4, Ozone Giants 1-3, TCM Gaming 4-0, and AAA 1-3, with Ozone Giant or Unite Gaming and NVS getting knocked out. So it's going to be interesting. Complexity and TCM won their groups, won their pools, so they're number one seeds for tomorrow, and I'm guessing someone figured all that stuff out by now.
I
Yeah, he did. Alex did. We talked about that earlier.
because I got really bored during one of the break periods that they had, and I was like, screw it, I'm gonna figure out math right now.
Yeah. Who did Impact lose to? They lost to
TCM.
TCM.
Yeah.
TCM. They took the only map off of TCM this event. TCM went 12-1 map count. I'll actually go. I can do the map counts real quick if you guys are interested.
I got a link to a place that has them all.
TCM 12-1 in maps. Impact 8-5. No, they didn't add the final match. Impact is 11-5. Optic 9-6. Complexity 12-3. Prophecy 9-7. Curse 5-8. Ozone has 5-10, but it didn't add the last match. And Ozone went 3-2. They won that, so they went 8-12. AAA went 4-10, but they didn't add the last match. Sons of bitches got lazy. So 3-2. So AAA went 7-12. NVS 1-3. They have 4-8 here, but it's actually 4-11. NVS went 4-11 map count this weekend. It's rough. They won a hard point, 2 S&Ds, and 1 CTF.
Yeah, a lot of them were against. 3 of them were against AAA as well, like, and even them they were really, really close.
Yeah.
And
Like
Unite,
that S&D was sick to watch, but like that AAA MV game, it was so good.
Unite went 4 and Unite went 4 and frickin' 14. Whew.
Yeah, that's bad.
4 and
That is
14.
bad.
Well, it was really bad that they didn't get one until more than halfway through it, and it was that last one that they got 2 on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody say bye to Ego. He left without saying bye. He probably went to go play in his tournament.
Screw you, Paul. Jesus.
It was good to get him in here when he got in here because I wanted to get his opinion on on Gfinity and everything that happened. So, all around, I'm not complaining about Gfinity. I'm just saying they got some bugs to work out. I'm not hating on anything. I'm just.
I think they know that themselves though. Like, I don't think they're stupid.
No, I'm giving my own personal opinion on
Yeah,
their
of course.
event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
They know what went wrong, and
Yeah.
they fixed it in the end. So
I'm pretty good friends with the guys over there. I know them pretty well, so
yeah, boy.
I hope they watch this show later. I'm actually gonna try and get Warren and Melmoth on again next Wednesday. I hope I can get them on again and talk about Gfinity and everything that went on and how they plan to improve for the future and stuff like that. And per usual, I'll have the champions on again every Wednesday. I always do that. I've done that since the beginning of the TheWRant, and I'll do it again. So we'll see what's going to happen. It'll be interesting. You said Complexity and Impact are going to run into each other in the second round, right?
Yeah. If they both win their pools like we're expecting, or their matches like we're expecting.
Okay, so damn. I have Impact winning this too. I predicted Impact winning this event on Wednesday, but honestly, I think Complexity is going to take that match tomorrow if it happens.
I would be really excited to see a final match that was TCM and Complexity, based on how they've been playing this week. I think that'd be really, really.
That would make sense, and if the brackets make sense, then they should be on opposite sides of the bracket. So
They are.
it could happen. It's very possible. But that Impact Complexity match will be a good one because Impact's going to want revenge from Anaheim, definitely. I mean, 6-2 map count overall. Impact's going to be looking for revenge. And if the tweet was actually true and they went to sleep, good stuff. I think if they went to sleep and they're not out drinking, I think Impact has more than a good chance to beat Complexity tomorrow. So that's going to be a very good match. I'm excited for it. But I don't know. Who's Optic? Optic's probably going to have to run into TCM, so...
Yeah,
Right.
that's who they go up against in their second
Yeah.
round.
So I mean, that's who I would predict to be there. Optic TCM on one side, and then Complexity and Impact on the other. And then I think Optic will win that TCM match. I think.
Really?
Nah, I don't think so.
Yep.
I don't. It depends if they play like they did today. Like I don't know, man. Like it's weird. I can't believe TCM did what they did because we absolutely dominate them every single time we play them. It was just
TCM isn't a loud team, man. That's like Optics. Like
Yeah.
that's Optics.
No, you're right. That's
Temple.
the one thing that threw them off today was how loud Complexity was. Before that, they were doing fine.
Yeah.
They were doing great, even I would say.
Yeah.
But it was the noise that threw them off. And you're right. TCM doesn't really make a peep. They kind of just sit there and win matches.
Yep. So we'll see. Definitely interesting tomorrow. The stream starts at 6 a.m. Central Time, 7 a.m. Eastern Time, 5 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So we'll go through some questions maybe that you guys might have for myself, Scruff, or Alex here for a little bit. And then I'm going to hit the hay, go to sleep maybe. Maybe, I don't know. I'm pretty wide awake right now. I'm amped up. This show amped me up, so I might be up for a couple hours. I don't know what I'll do. But I definitely need to sleep.
What's the
My
next
fear
feature?
is that I won't be able to fall asleep before the 4 a.m. restart time now.
Oh, I'm definitely starting, or I'm setting like 5 different alarms. I've already set it. I'm starting
gonna
5 different
be rough.
alarms. It's gonna be awesome.
In
Awesome. And
By the way,
yes,
someone's asked
What's up?
Someone asked what future events we're attending. We're going to DreamHack next weekend in Valencia. We'll be doing I-Series and EGL. Will be our next one. Over in Skyland, whenever that comes about.
but guys, I will be doing another recap show after the championship finals tomorrow night. Right afterwards, like I did tonight, I'll be doing another one of these. Probably Scruffy might be here unless he actually goes to the venue. He might not be here. I'm sure Alex will join me again. And I'll try to get Ego back on and get some new faces on here. Hopefully everyone's not tired because I know a lot of people stayed up to watch this. That's why I couldn't get as big as a panel as I would have liked. But the show turned out great. We had good viewers in here. I hope you guys enjoyed what I had to offer. It was a good day. I was entertained, other than some of the bugs in the beginning, but that's expected for any event naturally. Just I didn't expect it for this event, but I've said that enough now. But guys, come back tomorrow night definitely, and then after that, if time permits it, I'll still do the community's voice. It's where I invite anybody to the chat. It's on Xbox Live. We get 8 people in there. We talk about whatever. Tomorrow night will probably be all about Gfinity, so I'll run my day 2 recap show, and then I'll probably take an hour break. And then I will come back online and I'll run the community's voice again also to get all of you guys involved in the chat and we can all talk about Gfinity together. It's normally a good time. It's just an open platform chat. We talk about whatever we want to talk about. There's really no set topics. But tomorrow's obviously will be Gfinity, so it might be the first ever set topic for a community's voice. So it ought to be a good time. But that's going to do it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. Come back tomorrow night right after the championship finals. I'll be here. I hope to see you guys here also. And peace out.
Bye-bye.
Later.